Welcome to Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I'm your host, Jill Jardine, Master's in Counseling Psychology, longtime astrologer, psychic healer, and yogi. And my guest today is Anne Gordon, who spent her entire life in the presence of dolphins and whales. She's going to tell us what's happening with the whales and what are they feeling and knowing about planet Earth that they can let us know. So stay tuned. The guest on today's episode is Anne Gordon. Anne Gordon is a weaver of ocean magic, a guide for the soul, and a messenger of dolphin and whale wisdom. She leads sacred journeys to the sea, where wild dolphins and whales open hearts, awaken joy, and invite transformation. Through retreats, healer trainings, and soul-aligned programs, she helps sensitive spiritual women rise into their radiance, ride the currents of abundance, and remember who they truly are. Her work is a dance with the divine, carried on waves of love, grace, and luminous presence. Anne Gordon has spent her entire life in the presence of dolphin and whales. She grew up watching orca whales while boating and living in the Pacific Northwest. She has been running her successful whale and dolphin wisdom retreats internationally since 2007. She shares the wisdom of the dolphins and whales through transformational retreats in Bimini, Hawaii, Mexico, French Polynesia, and more to spend time with and deepen your spiritual connection with the natural world. She is a certified dolphin energy healer practitioner who loves to share the powerful healing energy, insights, wisdom, and messages the dolphins have for her clients. And she loves to empower others to connect deeply with and share the healing energy of the dolphins and whales. The dolphins and whales are a powerful presence in Anne's life, bringing her peace, confidence, and a strong sense of unity and community all the time. She has been connecting and working with the dolphins her whole life, starting watching the orcas as a child from her father's boat. She is a certified dolphin energy healer since 2005 and pioneered the whale watching industry in the country of Panama. She has been leading her whale and dolphin wisdom retreats internationally since 2007. She is a retreat success coach, and she shares comprehensive knowledge and experience to support you in creating and leading your own successful retreat. She is dedicated to empowering you to lead the powerful retreats that you have been dreaming of, as well as bringing the wisdom of the dolphins into every aspect of your business. If you want to connect with Anne, check out her website, whalewisdomretreats.com. That's all one word, whalewisdomretreats.com. So we're excited to have Anne back for her second podcast here on Cosmic Scene. She hasn't come on for several years. So very happy to have Anne back swimming through the airwaves with us. Welcome. It's great to have you back on Cosmic Scene, Anne.
Thanks, Jill. It's great to be here again.
Yes, and it's such a timely interview with you because as a friend just sent me something about the humpback whales today, the day that we're taping this, about how the humpback whales are congregating in huge groups, 20 to 200 off the coast of South Africa. Something is definitely going on, but so far experts are stumped. But I bet you're not. Can you tell us what's happening with those humpback whales?
Sure, I'd be happy to give you my thoughts on it. And to me, it just seems really, really obvious. And now I'm not a scientist. I am trained in biology and animal behavior. But here's a simple take on this. And that is, I know some people are like, oh my God, it's doomsday, something horrible's happening. No, this is a really great sign. Because if you think about it, we haven't in modern history seen these large gatherings. But in the 17 and 1800s, there was major whaling happening, and these whales were hunted almost to the brink of extinction.
Yes.
They are right, but now they're no longer being hunted by most of the world. A couple of rogue nations, but they're not affecting these populations anymore. And so the answer is really obvious. It means they're coming back.
I love that.
Their numbers are increasing. Science will prove that. And so my guess is that these gatherings have always taken place. It's just that now that the numbers are growing and they're nowhere near back to their pre-whaling numbers yet, but they're working their way towards that. So this is just them going back to what they used to do pre-whaling. So I think it's a really great sign.
I agree with you. And I also feel it has something to do with they know where maybe some nice vortices are there in the coastlines or off of certain countries. They may know about things that are waking up on the planet through the oceans. And so they're going to where the good vibes are too, probably in big groups, because they're having their own cosmic parties there in the ocean and really helping to anchor some higher vibrations on the planet. That's my theory, but I think we're on the same wavelength with that the whales are just so happy to be back in their large numbers, and they're having whale parties in these various places.
Yeah, it's a great sign. And yes, they are very sensitive to energy fields on the earth, in the ocean, on the bottom of the ocean. So absolutely. And yes, they are not known for being social animals in that they don't travel in tight-knit family pods their entire life, but they do gather together for very loose social groupings for the same purpose. Like when it's time to breed and give birth, they all go to the same areas. And when there is really good feeding areas, they all gather in the same place to feed together. And they work together cooperatively, not competitively. A lesson we can learn from them.
For sure.
Right? And about working together. So my take also is that these large gathering areas may be really good feeding areas.
Yes. And, we've been doing a series of podcasts here most recently on consciousness that is, let's say, different than humanity's on the planet because we're going through some challenges here.
Mhm.
And we've
Yep.
had some guests on who have connections to the galactics or the higher dimensional beings. Specifically, we had a few on with the planet Venus and who are connected to Venusians. But my idea with having you on was to talk about how dolphins and whales do have what probably is a higher consciousness or at least a different consciousness than humanity, where they have been around, I believe, prior to humans on the planet. So I wonder if there's something that they also are helping us evolve into at this point on the planet. Any ideas about that, Anne?
Oh yeah, I could talk for hours on this one.
All
Yes,
right.
great question. Thank you for asking. So yes, dolphins and whales. First, we'll go to the science, then we'll go to the spiritual. And the science is that their brains are larger than our brains. Even when you do body to brain body ratio, they are larger. And they are also have many more cortical folds, which is also a sign of intelligence. That simple brains are very smooth. Human brains, when you look at a picture of them, they have all those folds in them. Well, that gives us our brains more surface area. And dolphins and whales have many more cortical folds than we do. So even more surface area, even more intelligence. And that's all proven science. Now, they've also been on this planet in their current form for 30 million years. That's
Wow.
also proven. We humans have only been here 250,000 years. So a mere blip in time in comparison.
Yes.
So what the dolphins and whales have shared with me many times is that part of their purpose is to model a way of living in harmony, in balance, in honor and respect for each other, for all life forms, for us humans who, in their minds, they look at us like we're the toddlers of the planet. We're the new kids on the block, just like any toddler. We make a lot of mistakes. We bumble, we fall down, but they are like, look at, if you've got a toddler making a mistake or having a temper tantrum, as an adult, you don't get mad because you know that they are still trying to figure life out and how to deal with their emotions and life circumstances. Well, that's exactly how the dolphins and whales look at us. And so that's why some people ask me, aren't the dolphins and whales mad at us for all the hunting of them, of the pollution of the oceans, all of those things? And the answer is no. The dolphins and whales are not looking for revenge. They're not angry. They are holding a vision for us to grow up and mature into more highly conscious beings, as they are, just like you do as an adult with a toddler, a 2-year-old.
Wow. Yeah. So they're like basically our energetic parents here on the planet who are evolved further along and are just patiently and gently holding space for us to grow up or evolve, right? That's what it sounds like.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. Think of them like the elders that in the old days, in the Native American indigenous populations, they would go to the elder and revere the elders and look for advice and guidance. And that's exactly what the dolphins and whales are here. And they love it it's just like the angels. They're here to help and support and guide us. But if we don't ask, then they're not going to step in. Same with the dolphins and whales. We just have to ask them for guidance and then be open to receive. And they can come through in many amazing ways to help us live a better life.
And that's where you come in. Why dolphins and whales for you? And and how do you work with them? It sounds like you also bring people to have these experiences of being with the wise elder who will teach them when you do your retreats. So tell us a little bit about your connection personally to the dolphins and whales, and especially since you've been doing this for many years, so you've learned so much. So anything you want to share on that, Anne, would be appreciated.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I have been in the presence of dolphins and whales, starting with orca whales as a child. And back, when I was a kid growing up in the Pacific Northwest, my father had a boat. We spent many weekends, every summer vacation out on the water with them. And so they've been in my life, my entire life. And so I, again, trained as a biologist observer, and my brain likes to put their behaviors into metaphors for our life. For example, when it gets really rough and stormy out on the water, the dolphins and whales do not run and hide or try to avoid the storm like the way we humans do when there's a challenge in our life. But instead, I've seen this many times where they start surfing those big waves, and they use the force of the wave to jump higher than they could without the waves. So they play with the storm. And so imagine playing and going with the energy of a challenge as opposed to avoiding, resisting, right? It's huge.
It's literally going with the flow. And so they
Yep.
are experts at that no matter what it feels like the external conditions are with the weather or whatever they're presented with. It looks like they do the make lemonade out of the lemons that they're handed. So that is kind of a more evolved way of looking at life. I mean, that's what spiritual teachers teach us to do. Be in the now. Don't worry about like what's happening. Just be connected to the now moment, which it sounds like that's what they are experts at.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's how I started. And in 2005, I became a certified dolphin energy healer, which means that I connect into the dolphins and now the whales as well. And I channel their powerful healing energy to my clients. And when that happens, I receive a pretty steady stream of visions and messages from the dolphins and whales for my client. And these are very, very profound messages and visions. And then, as you say, I also I've been leading my whale and dolphin wisdom retreats since 2007. So coming up on 18 years, I've been traveling the world, taking people out to connect both on a physical, whether we're observing from a boat or getting in the water and swimming with wild dolphins and whales. And on those retreats, I share messages and channelings directly from the dolphins and whales so that they can develop both a spiritual and a physical connection with them.
Yes, I remember in our previous podcast several years back, you shared some phenomenal stories about how people on the retreats with you in the boats would have profound healings or get messages about things in their life which they didn't even know about
Yes.
but found out later when they got home. I believe one
Yep.
woman was actually pregnant but didn't know it and found out, but they were swimming around her. Do you have any other fascinating stories to share about what happens to people when they go on these retreats and interact with the dolphins and whales?
Well, it's interesting. I have a client who came on a retreat last year, and at the time she was she was an entrepreneur working in marketing with doing marketing for big businesses. And she's now working with me in a different way, more of a, coaching way. And she's writing a book right now. And it turns out, I didn't even realize this, but it turns out that on that retreat, the dolphins reached out and connected to her and told her she was going to be writing a book and told her she needed to explore animal communication.
Wow.
And so she is now doing that. She's taken some animal communication classes. She's having amazing results with doing it for friends and family so far. And she's writing in the book how this one swim with a dolphin has completely changed her life, shifting from, very, very like hard thinking, concrete marketing things to opening up to the world of animal communication. And she's got some really big dreams. Like she's starting a podcast called Wildlife Wins.
Wow.
And it's super cool. And she's going to be interviewing nonprofits, so foundations, charities that work to conserve and protect wildlife of all kinds. And her goal is to be able to speak to these nonprofits and communicate with the animals or even the trees and the resources in nature that they are protecting to help re-inspire their passion and what they are working towards.
Wow, that's beautiful. Sounds like the dolphins and whales found their person to pull off the dharma here that is needed through your client, and that's a beautiful story. And it sounds like she's getting the downloads too directly from the dolphins and whales to help her pursue all this.
She is. It's super fun. She sent me the rough draft of her book the other day, and I read the whole thing. I couldn't stop reading it. It was really, really fun, and it was really great to read all of her what she wrote about the retreat and what she took away from it, which was an in-depth perspective I don't usually get.
That's amazing. So you do have your retreats. We've given the website, but I'll give it again, whalewisdomretreats.com, which leads me to the next question for you, Anne. Let's say somebody can't pull it together to get on one of these retreats. Do people actually have to be in the physical presence of dolphins and whales to receive their healing energy or the transmission of what they want to give? Maybe there's a way to tune into their energy if you're willing to share that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking. It's a great question.
Hey, Cosmic Scene listeners, Jill Jardine here, and I've got something out of this world to share with you. Introducing the Cosmic Tower, a revolutionary energy harmonizing device designed to uplift your space, restore vitality, and bring coherence to your life. It's like plugging into the cosmos right from your living room. These towers are transforming homes, clearing EMFs, and awakening higher frequencies. And now you can experience it for yourself. I recently received my very own cosmic tower, and the experience has been truly magical. I've been feeling drained from work with physical pain flaring up, but within 2 hours of setting up the tower, my energy returned, my spirit lifted, and I felt ready for life again. I am so excited to be living with the cosmic tower and want you to learn more about it. Check out the wellnessenterprise.com and tap into the frequency of the future. Use code COSMIC10, capital letters COSMIC 10 at checkout for 10% off your own cosmic tower. That's at thewellnessenterprise.com.
I realize that not everybody can come on my retreats for whatever reason, and that's fine. The beauty is that dolphins and whales, as we've already said, are highly conscious beings. So that means that they are able to connect with you anywhere and everywhere. And so you can connect with them in meditations, ask them to come in while you're sleeping. And I have a free meditation, guided meditation, that if your listeners would like to meet their dolphin spirit guide, just go to dolphinspiritguide.com and opt in, and you will receive a meditation that I led with dolphin sounds, where you will meet your dolphin spirit guide. And everybody who wants one can have one. And then you will meet them, and then you can continue working with him or her for the rest of your life. So that's super cool.
That's very magical. And I will share the link for the Dolphin Spirit Guide meditation in the show notes, as well as your website retreat information in the show notes.
Thank you.
So Anne, we have several more questions for you today. This is really exciting and uplifting. I can feel the energy of the dolphins and whales just bringing their joy, and they're very hopeful. They're very hopeful. I can feel that too.
Yes.
They're very uplifting. So most people think that dolphins are joyful, but how can we learn how to be more joyful and, have fun in life like the dolphins?
Sure, absolutely. So here's the thing. There's a difference between joy and happiness.
Yes.
Happy, right? Happy is a fleeting emotion, just like sadness and frustration and anger. It comes and it goes. But joy is a choice, and joy can be permanent. And so you can be in joy and yet be sad or be frustrated, but have that deep inner joy underneath it all. Now, I know some people may be saying, well, okay, that's good, but how do I do that? How do I actually embody that? And it's a choice. And every day you can just say to yourself, wake up in the morning and say, I choose joy today, knowing that it's okay if something frustrates you. It's okay if something brings tears to your eyes and you're sad about something. That's not taking away from the joy. Now, I want to share an example of this, and I may have shared it last time, but it's such a good story. I'll do it again. And that is, I was leading a retreat in Bimini to swim with wild dolphins. It was the first time I'd led that retreat, so about 8 years ago now. And 2 days before I was about to lead this retreat, I was living in Panama, and I'd already traveled back to the US. And I got a text from my husband that said, my mother left us. And my response was, well, where'd she go? And it turns out she had passed away.
Oh, wow.
And I was devastated, and we knew she'd been sick, but we never had a diagnosis, and we didn't know, none of us knew it was fatal. And so all I wanted to do was forget the retreat and jump back on a plane and head back to Panama to be with my husband and his family to grieve together. But I had 20 people that had signed up for this retreat and were waiting for me in 2 days. So my husband said, no, you have to work, you have to lead this retreat. So I did. Now, I didn't tell anybody what was going on with me because I didn't want to burden my people. I didn't want them to have to take care of me. That's my job, is to take care of them. And so I didn't say anything for the first 2 days. And then on Tuesday was the day of the funeral. And I had spoken to my husband that morning, and, I was crying. I was sad. I was missing being with him and the family. And so I couldn't hold it in anymore. So on the boat, as we were heading out to see the dolphins, I shared with everyone where I was at. And I used it as a teaching, and about how dolphins live in complete transparency and there's no such thing as a secret or lie. And I also shared that they also teach us to dive deep into our emotions whenever we feel them. So that instead of holding on and pushing those emotions down, and deep inside us for them to come out, who knows, maybe years later. Instead, they say, feel them fully in the moment. And I've learned that means that they don't last very long. They just move right through. And so I shared all of this with everybody, and it was a really beautiful moment. And that day was the best dolphin encounter of the retreat.
Wow.
We had about 40 dolphins that came right to the boat, stayed with the boat. Everybody on the boat got into the water, including we had a guy walking on a cane and a couple of weak swimmers. Everyone got in the water. And I got in the water, but I was kind of hanging back because I was still in my grief. And I was hanging back, and I was happy that all of my people were having this amazing experience. That brought me joy, but I was still sad. Yeah. And one dolphin saw me and came over about maybe a foot from my face, stopped, made direct eye contact with me. And then she started swimming in a circle around me. So the only way to maintain eye contact with her was to spin in a circle. So I'm spinning and spinning, and she's probably done about 5 circles around me. And I couldn't help myself. I just burst out laughing at this spinning game we were playing. And when I started laughing, she stopped again, stared right into my eyes, and then swam off. And I got the feeling like, okay, my job here is done. And so she brought me back to that joy.
That's a beautiful story. What a teacher too. And she got you spinning. She had you doing a Sufi swirl. She got your chakras all moving so that you couldn't stay in the lower set point emotionally. She wanted to bring you that higher. That's what a gift. What a gift.
It was beautiful. It was an amazing moment.
So that would lead me to understanding that whales and dolphins can heal, and they can also make you feel more peaceful in your life. How do they do that?
Well, it's well known that there's many, many documented accounts of people swimming with dolphins and whales and having, say, tumors disappear, or fertility problems going away, or chronic back pain going away, just by swimming with them once. And so there's that. But also, when you are in the water, or even in the presence of a dolphin or whale, it's amazing to watch. When I can be the observer, like I've done whale watch tours here in Southern California, where it's not my trip. I just go as a participant like everybody else. But I watch when the dolphin shows up, and I watch this group of people And on a regular tour, like nobody knows each other, right? You just all go out, you're just all on this boat together, and then the dolphins show up. And everybody starts smiling, starts chatting with each other, starts opening up and being friendly, making friends. I saw this older man just burst into song when the dolphin shows up. And that happens a lot on my retreats, that people just start singing spontaneously. And it's just amazing just to be in their presence. Now, here's the thing about presence. And I love that presence, like the word gift, also means presence, right?
Right.
Right? Because being in the present moment is a gift. Because when you are in the presence of a dolphin or a whale, it is literally impossible to think about the bills sitting on your desk that you haven't paid, or the things that weighing on you normally, the stresses, the project at work that you're worried about, the fight you had with your spouse, whatever's going on, it's gone. And when you're in that present moment, it reconnects you to yourself. Again, to that inner joy that lives in there, that gets buried often by all of the stress, our daily stresses. And so it's it's a very powerful gift that they give to us just by showing up in our world. And we get to forget, because we humans are really bad about living in tomorrow and yesterday. But being in that present moment is powerfully healing, brings this deep sense of peace and joy into our lives.
That's beautiful. It's, as Ram Dass said, be here now. Well,
Yes.
the dolphins and whales are teaching us that.
Yep.
I have a couple more questions for you, Anne. Before
Sure.
we end the interview, we talked a lot about the dolphins and them being joyful and how they help us to feel lighter, and they bring you healing, as do whales. But it's also been said that whales represent abundance. Can you tell me
Yeah.
more about that?
Oh, one of my favorite subjects. Yes. So whales represent abundance, being the largest creatures to have ever lived on this planet, bigger than the biggest dinosaurs. And many whales eat the smallest, eat the plankton and krill and small fish. And you never see a skinny whale. Right?
That's right.
Right? They're always big and robust. Now, not only do they represent abundance, but a couple things. Many of the baleen whales, like humpback whales and gray whales and blue whales, migrate thousands of miles, some over 6,000 miles, from their feeding areas to their breeding birthing areas. And in the breeding birthing areas, there is very little food for them. Krill lives in colder water, not warm tropical waters where they go to breed and give birth, which means that when they're in those areas, they're not eating.
Wow.
Not eating anything at all, which means they can go 4 to 5 months with eating nothing. And
Wow.
so I know. So here's the thing, you don't see them. Yes, do they lose weight in those areas? Yes, of course. But they know how to manage their abundance so that they pack on in the feeding areas. They eat. So they're packing on the blubber and then using those stores of fat to survive. And they're not skin and bones when they leave. They're still big and round, and they easily migrate, and they don't, like you think, oh, maybe they're going to conserve their energy and slow down. No, the males are chasing females around in these big heat runs. The females are showing their babies, teaching them how to breach, how to wave their fins and slap their tails. And they'll take their babies on these little swimabouts building up their muscles so that they are able to make the migration to the feeding area. So I'm going to take it even a step further. So science has proven that when there are more whales in the ocean eating krill and fish, there's not less krill and fish in the ocean, which you would think. There's actually more. So how does that happen when all the whales are swallowing them up? It's because whales not only are the masters of abundance, but they create their own abundance.
So they have no lack consciousness whatsoever. The more
Nope.
it's like the more that they consume, the more they know will be replenished.
Correct, because here's how that happens. And I'll get a little graphic here, that what happens when you're eating?
You're pooping.
That's right.
So the
That's
whale
right.
the whale poop is generating more of the food source.
That's exactly right. One of the nutrients that comes out of the whale is nitrogen, which is exactly what the phytoplankton or the plant-based plankton needs to proliferate. So then the more phytoplankton means the more zooplankton, which means the more krill, which means the more fish. And there's the circle.
Circle of life with the
Yes.
whales at the top. I love
That's
that.
right.
The abundant consciousness. So if people tapped into whales, it would probably help their consciousness go into one of abundance and not scarcity.
Absolutely. And so how does that translate to us? It's like, okay, how can you create your own abundance? Right? Maybe that's having a garage sale. Maybe that's even asking for a raise. Maybe that's starting your own business. Whatever it is, there are ways every day, even though we have to get out of our limited mindset and go, wait a minute, how can I create my own abundance?
But it also makes me think too of the flow of money in, money out,
Yes,
money in,
exactly.
money out,
Yep,
keeping
for
the flow,
sure.
keeping that flow going. All right,
Yep.
so I would like to end the episode with you, Anne, by you channeling a special message for us now from the dolphins and whales.
All right, I would be happy to. So
Thank
let me
you.
just tune in here. Give me just a minute and connect. Greetings, dear ones. We are here. We are the whales, and the dolphins are here with us. We are here to share our love for you. We are here to ask you to call on us to support you. We understand that the world right now, your human world, is in a place of chaos and fear, and that many people are nervous, and that it is important to not, we are seeing a vision of your bodies, and it is like what you would use like a strainer, and all this energy is pouring out and very little is left inside of you. And so we ask you to close the holes within you and not waste energy worrying about things that you cannot change. To make yourself a closed system, if you will, to protect yourself from unnecessary energy drain. This does not mean to not connect with loved ones and support and community. But there is no need to fill yourself with news that is scary. You can stay informed and be like the sponge. Take in only what feeds you, what supports you, and let the rest go. Let it flow on past you, and allow yourself to be fed and supported by the world, for there is much good news out there. And allow yourself to be complete and whole within yourself. You are a beautiful creature of nature. You are whole and perfect. And when you allow yourself to be drained of energy, you become depleted, which makes you, of course, open to disease, to stress, to problems, to challenges, and exhaustion. But to close yourself off from the fear and the chaos out there, it serves you not at all. So allow in only the good, allow in only the support, allow in only the love, and be perfect, be whole. And that will bring your energy level back up where you are not exhausted, you are not depleted, you are full, you are complete. And you will then know how to take care of yourself. And the first step is simply closing the holes and allowing all the fear and chaos to simply pass you by. That is our message for you today.
Thank you, whales, dolphins, and Gordon, our guest today. And it's been such a pleasure to reconnect with you during this episode and hear your loving wisdom from the whales and dolphins. I want listeners to remember to connect with Anne through her website, whalewisdomretreats.com, and check out her Dolphin Spirit Guide meditation at dolphinspiritguide.com. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jill. Always a pleasure to spend time with you. Thank you.
Hey, listeners, it's a great time to book a reading. So check out my website, jilljardineastrology.com/shop, and pick the kind of reading or service you would like. I hope you enjoyed this episode featuring my guest, Anne Gordon, speaking about whale and dolphin wisdom. Make sure you subscribe, download, share, and give us a 5-star review. This is Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine, sending you a whale of good time as we swim and flow through the quantum field.